Good morning, everybody. Mr. Spottelson here. Hope you had a great weekend and was able to get outside and enjoy some of the great weather. This week we have a short week, I guess, if you want to call that, for an online for remote learning. We Friday's Good Friday, so there's absolutely nothing that you'll be required to do on Friday, which means that everything's going to be due by the end of Thursday. Okay, so I'm going to go over the schedule a little bit for this week. Please pay attention to some due dates and stuff because there's a little bit different than last week. Things are changing a little bit. Okay. As far as today, which is Monday, when I hope you're watching this video, I'm going to do a short video on section 9.8 and 9.9 review. Okay, we're just going to go over the 4 types of problems you can see on the quiz. Number 2 then would be to download and work on the review guide. It's a 7-question review guide. It's much shorter than other review guides that we've had, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then on Tuesday, you're going to complete section 9.8, 9.9 review guide. Okay, you could have finished it on Monday, but it has to be done by Tuesday, and I'd like it submitted on Tuesday night by 11:59. Okay, which is different. I've had everything due on Friday, but we're changing it up a little bit for this week. On Wednesday, I'll make a video actually going over the review guide and talking about the answers, and I might do a couple questions, maybe something specific based on what I saw that we were struggling on when I was checking through the review guides. And then I'll also post an optional review here that you could work on Wednesday if you'd like. On Thursday, the only thing you'll have to do is take and download the quiz. Okay, you'll do it just like a homework assignment, except I'm asking that you don't use any notes, you don't use your textbook, you don't use other people. I'm asking that you do it on your own, and there'll be an area where your parents will have to signature that you took it and you did not use notes or anything. So you'll see that. There'll be more information on that on our review guide video that I post on Wednesday. Okay, and then like I said, Friday's Good Friday, so there is no school or no assignments or anything that needs to be done on Friday. Okay. As far as today, I'm going to walk through a couple problems and just review a little bit. Again, if you have questions, I'll be on Canvas conference at 1 o'clock on Monday. And then my entire Canvas conference schedule, it's completely up to you. If you want to do a Canvas conference, I will do a Canvas conference with you. Okay, please do not feel like you're bothering me. All right, I'm sitting at home. So please ask questions if you have. All right, if you remember, we had our first type of problems that were completing the square problems. Okay, and in your notes somewhere, you should have written down 6 steps. Okay, those 6 steps have to be ingrained. Okay, you've got to know those. If we know those 6 steps, these problems are very easy. Okay, so let's go over this one here. We've got solve by completing the square. We've got x squared plus 14x plus 15. Okay, step 1 to completing the square problem is having the variables on one side and the coefficients on the other. So in this case here, for step 1, we're going to have to move this plus, we're going to have to add 15 and add 15 and get our x's on one side and our numbers on the other. So now we're going to have x squared plus 14x equals 15. Okay, good. After that, for step 2, we normally check to see if there's anything in front here that needs divided over. In this case, there isn't anything. So we're done with this step here and we can move on to step 3. Step 3 is to do our equation here that we have, which is b over 2 squared. Okay. In this case here, our b value is 14. So we've got 14 divided by 2 squared. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. Okay, so in this case here now, we've got to add 49 to this x squared plus 14x and to this 15 right here. Okay, so I'll go ahead. We'll have x squared plus 14x plus 49 equals, and then 15 plus 49 on this side here. Okay, we can simplify now. This will simplify down to x squared plus 14x plus 49. And then we'll do 15 plus 49 and get 64. Okay. From there, then, we will factor this x squared plus 14x plus 49. So when we factor here, we're looking for what multiplies to get me 49. That'll add to get me 14. In this case here, it's going to be 7. So I'm going to have x plus 7 squared is equal to 64. After I've factored it, I need to simplify this by getting rid of this squared here. In order to get rid of this squared right here, we use the radical sign to a square root over both sides. Okay, so the square root of x plus 7 squared is going to leave me with just x plus 7. And then I've got the square root of 64, and the square root of 64 is going to be plus or minus 8. Okay, do not forget that plus or minus 8. Once we get to that plus or minus 8, we've got two cases, if you recall. One in case 2. In order to do this, we're going to do x plus 7 equals positive 8, and x plus 7 equals negative 8. Okay, and then we just solve for x. So minus 7, I'm going to get x equals 1. And then minus 7, we're going to get x is equal to negative 15. So my two answers for this one are going to be 1 and negative 15. Okay. I hope that is ringing a bell a little bit. All right, we look at the second one here, and it's another completing the square one. Okay, if you remember, step 1 is to check and see if the x's are on one side and the numbers on the other, which it is in this case. So then the second step would be to clear this 5 from in front of the x squared, and we do so by dividing by 5. So I'm going to divide by 5, divide by 5, and divide by 5. Okay. In this case here, I'm going to be left with x squared minus 10x, and then equals 11. All right. After that, now I can go ahead and do my b over 2 squared. So we're going to go up. We'll go b over 2 squared. In this case, I have negative 10 over 2 squared. Negative 10 over 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is going to be 25. So 25 is now going to get added to both sides here. All right, so we'll have x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals 11 plus 25. From there, we're going to factor this x squared minus 10x plus 25. And I'm going to do this all in one step, and I'll add this. So I'll just go ahead and do this now to save a little bit of time. 11 plus 25 is 36. We'll factor this now. Okay, what multiplies to get me positive 25 that'll add to get me negative 10? It's going to be x minus 5 squared, and then equals 36. We've got to get rid of the exponent, so we square root both sides. We're going to be left with x minus 5 equals plus or minus 6. Please do not forget the plus or minus. And then we're going to have our two cases, 1 and 2. We'll have x minus 5 equals positive 6, and x minus 5 equals negative 6. We'll add 5, get x equals 11. And we'll add 5, and get x equals negative 1. So my two answers are 11 and negative 1. All right. Let you see that full screen there. Again, we got the x squared by itself. We added the b over 2 squared to both sides. We square rooted, and then we took our two cases. All right, let's look at one here that does not come out as clean, okay, that we know. Okay, so we've got 4x squared plus 16 equals negative 24x. All right, in this case here, we've got our constant 16 and our variable x on separate sides. We need to move the 24 over to here, and we need to subtract the 16 over to here. We have to have our variables on one side and our number on the other side. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, do this all in one step. I'm going to subtract 16. And I'm also going to add 24x. Okay. In this case, then we have 4x squared plus 24x equals negative 16. Okay. Once I'm here now, I need to go ahead and clear the x. The x squared from the 4. We do that by dividing. So this would be step 2. This will equal x squared. This will be plus 6x. And this will be negative 16 divided by 4 will equal negative 4. Okay. After we get this all set up here and we have x by itself and we have the x's on one side and the constant on the other, now we can go ahead and do our b over 2 squared. Our b value here is 6, so we have 6 over 2 squared. 6 over 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So I'll have x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals negative 4 plus 9. Okay. We're going to simplify. I'm going to do this all in one step now. Okay, what factors this? Well, what multiplies to give me 9 that'll add to give me 6? That's going to be 3, so I'm going to have x plus 3 squared equals, and then negative 4 plus 9 is going to equal 5. Excuse me. Now, in this case here, we don't have a perfect square here, which means we're going to get something different. Okay, from here now where we go is we still have to square root, so we're going to square root this side and square root that side, and I'll end up with x plus 3 equals plus or minus 5, square root of 5. Let's make that look better. Okay, now there's still two cases, and you're still going to do two cases exactly how we normally do. So we'll have case 1 and case 2. You're going to have x plus 3 equals square root of 5, and you're going to have x plus 3 equals negative square root of 5. Okay, and we're going to subtract 3, we're going to end up with x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 5, and we're going to have subtract 3, we're going to have x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 5. Okay, those are going to end up being our two answers in this case. X equals negative 3 plus the square root of 5, or negative 3 minus the square root of 5. Now, one other step to this is your radical answer. And if it asks for not the radical answer, you could do x equals, and you could go to your calculator, and you could type in negative 3 plus the square root of 5, and you're going to get negative 0.764, and you could plug in negative 3 minus the square root of 5, and you're going to get negative 5.236. Those are two different answers there that you could get. Okay, let's take a look at that in full screen. Again, everything went to the same except when we got to, we didn't have a perfect square here at the square root of 5. So we ended up having to have a radical answer, and then you could get your number answer by calculating that out. Okay. All right, let's look at 2 more. Okay, let's look at the quadratic formula now. Okay, now we've done 3 completing the squares, so I'm not going to complete the square with this one, but okay. We're just going to do the quadratic formula with this one because we haven't worked on that yet. Okay, let's remind ourselves first what the quadratic formula is. Okay, remember the song. If you don't know the quadratic formula, you got to know it. Okay, so the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, gotta have that memorized for tomorrow. Okay, in order to solve this one, we've got to get our c value by subtracting 3 and subtracting 3. So we're gonna have 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 equals 0. Once you have that, the next step that I had everybody do is I had you write down your a, your b, and your c values. Okay, so my a value here is what's in front of the x squared, which is 2. My b value is what's in front of the x, which is 5. And my c value is what is at the end there, which is a negative 3. Okay, once you've identified that, you can go ahead and plug it in. Okay, so in this case, we're going to have x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 3 all over 2 times 2. Okay, we do a little simplifying on this step. Okay, can't touch the negative 5, that just stays as negative 5 plus or minus. All right, now if you recall, when I had you do this, okay, I had you plug in the entire part that was underneath your square root into your calculator, and I've already messed up because I wanted you to put everything inside parentheses. So I want that 5 to be in a parenthesis. Okay, and you can go to your calculator then. From there, you're going to plug in 5 all in parentheses squared minus 4 in parentheses 2 and then times in parentheses negative 3. We hit equals. You should get 49. So you're going to do plus or minus, and then this is now the square root of 49. And then all over 2 times 2, which is 4. From here, we can do a little bit more simplifying. X equals negative 5 plus or minus. The square root of 49 is now 7 over 4. Once we get to this step here, we've just about finished. Okay, it's not letting me extend my page here. There it is. Okay. We've got 2 cases though. We've got case 1 and we've got case 2. Case 1 is going to be negative 5 plus 7 over 4. And case 2 is going to be negative 5 minus 7 over 4. In this case, negative 5 plus 7 is 2. 2 divided by 4 is going to be simplified to 1/2. And then negative 5 minus 7 is going to be negative 12 over 4, which is going to simplify to negative 3. So my 2 answers are x equals 1/2 and negative 3. That again is your quadratic formula. Okay? I haven't been giving you time here, so go ahead and take a second and go ahead and solve this problem. Ooh, disappeared. Go ahead and pause this video and solve this problem right here. All right, I hope that you were able to get this problem done. We're going to go ahead and do it. First thing I'd like you to do is make sure you, again, let's remind ourselves actually what the discriminant is first. Okay, the discriminant is just what's underneath the square root in the quadratic formula, which is going to be b squared minus 4ac. So in this case, it's still going to be important for us to know a, b, and c. All right, we want to get our c value over there, so we're going to have to add 4, and we're going to end up with 5x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals 0. We identify that our a is 5, our b is 3, and our c is 4. Okay. Now it just goes into our discriminant. Okay, so we've got b squared, so we're going to have 3 squared minus 4 times 5 times 4. Remember, you want to put that 3 in parentheses just to keep yourself organized. All right, then we can go ahead and we can go to our calculator, type that all in as one big equation. So we go 3 squared minus 4 times 5 and times 4. Once we hit equals, we get negative 71 in this case. Okay. And then if you remember in your notes, you had 3 different possibilities. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and write them down. If the number, so if the discriminant, so I'm just going to use D for this case, is a negative number. Let's start with a positive. A positive number, it's going to have 2 solutions. So 2 solutions. If the D equals 0, you're going to have 1 solution. And if the discriminant is a negative number, it's no solutions. And in this case, our discriminant was negative 71, which is a negative number, meaning that the number of solutions for this equation right here is no solutions. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and upload the review guide onto Canvas. It'll be in modules under week 2. I'm going to make different weeks to keep it organized. Again, that'll be due tomorrow, which is Tuesday at 11:59. Wednesday, I will go over. Let's go to Canvas so you can see. Again, you'll watch this video today, work on the review guide, turn in and finish the review guide on Tuesday. Wednesday, I'll make a video going over some of those problems and just going over anything that I think we need to work on. Thursday, you'll take the quiz, and then Friday's Good Friday. We've got no school. All right. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, people, if you have questions, if you have anything that you want to ask, please do not hesitate. You're not bothering me. You've got Remind. We can get on Canvas. I can call your house or something, or call one of your parents, whatever works. All right. Thank you. Have a great week.